employees, or affiliates.
Time now for the Educated Retirement Show with your host, Jay Kaplan. Jay discusses reverse mortgages and can answer your questions at 951-922-3532. Call lines are open at 951-922-3532. And now here's Jay.
And here is Jay. And Jay is here on the Educated Retirement Radio Show here at KMET, home of Dr. Demento, where he started and where Jay Kaplan started. So welcome to the Educated Retirement Show here on KMET, 1490 AM, where we contemplate retirement and how to best prepare for retirement and how to best stay successfully retired, even though I ain't retired. But, you know, if you're not retired, you got to stay busy. So absolutely meet your requirement needs, top off your tank so you can make it all the way to the end. Now, one of the people who says that is Tom Hegna, who is on public television quite a bit, and he's a public speaker, and he's also a television personality, and he is scheduled to be here at the bottom of the hour. So let's remind you that the future is now, and why? Because knowledge is power, and our phone number is... What is our phone number? 866-955-2233, 866-955-2233. And you can also contact and get more information at theeducatedretirementradio.com, or the short version, Dr. Heckham, DRHECM.com, and the HECM stands for Home Equity Conversion Mortgage, or as I like to call it, a program more than a mortgage, because you don't have to take money. But the website for this show and everything about retirement finance, including the Heckham, is right here on that website. And when you're there, there's some great articles by a lot of different people and even more videos. So, you know, you can spend some time, and nobody needs to know you were there. You can be incognito. And we've got a really good thing. We've got a blog there that covers all kinds of stories, not just finance and retirement and Heckham's or reverse mortgages. However, there's a lot there also. There's also a place to watch the shows live. Also, just because it says my show doesn't necessarily mean just mine. You'll see a list on the right, or you can drop it down, and you can see anybody's show that has been, I don't know how far back that goes. Do you, Sean? But it goes back quite a ways. And, you know, you can watch those shows. For instance, I just watched, what did I just watch? Daryl McCants. And he had a doctor on there talking about what he does at City of Hope. But we can let him, he's coming on the show, not the doctor, but Daryl, and hopefully he'll bring Yvette with him. But speaking of other shows here on KMET, let's give a big shout out to Let Grandpa Speak, who is here every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. And to me, it's the best way to start your weekend with a good, happy mood. Now, you know, on this show, I do have a product to sell, even though I don't get into that often. But Grandpa has something different to give, not sell, and he's giving happiness and a good way to get through the weekend and through the next, 100 years. So, great person, a real inspiration to me, and he is to you, or he will be if you haven't watched his or listened to his show. So don't forget the Southern California Business Report with Daryl McCants, who we just talked about, that he shares with Yvette Walker. And they're actually repeat offenders on this show from time to time, and they're on every Tuesday at 4 p.m. They always give a plug for this show, saying that I'm a part of their advisory board, along with Bill Morris of UCI, who's also been a show on this Yes, let me just finish it because I'm old. He's also been a show on this guest, or what I mean, he's always been a guest on this show. And don't forget Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show here on KMET every Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. And I'm on his show once a month. On Thursdays, he talks about older people. And I don't know why he picks me. I'm only 75, but compared to him, I guess I'm older. So remember, knowledge is power. And remember, I do have a day job, and that is at the Loan Source, NMLS, licensed to do loans, number 384565. That's not a 00 number, but there is a new 00 movie coming out, which looks pretty good. Department of Real Estate number is 792630. And as you know, I do not sell real estate, but I like to stay on top of that stuff. Now, what is today, September the 24th? It is Gallbladder Good Health Day. And, I do have a guest on today's show, and here he or she, do you know what gender this is? I guess it depends on where it's sitting. So why is the gallbladder such a big deal? The gallbladder is part of the digestive system and also keeps the liver healthy, small but mighty and compact. A nasty punch if irritated, no kidding. This organ is responsible for the production, storage, and delivery of bile from the liver into the small intestine to help digest fat in the foods we eat. But as you know, mine was taken out, so mine is probably happier now because it's not associated with me. I asked the doctor if I could get it in a jar, but he didn't want to do that. So we'll see if Mr. Gallbladder wants to come back before the show is over. But sometimes material in the bile sticks together and forms pebble-like objects, which are called gallstones. Fatty and greasy foods are not good for the gallbladder. And perhaps that's why I just, internally, I used to love things that were fatty and greasy, and I don't now. And it's not because I eat them and they don't taste good. I just look at them, and I guess the lack of a gallbladder tells me I don't want them. So suggested healthy foods are fresh fruits, vegetables, whole grains like oats, and brown rice, which I do like. My wife doesn't like brown rice, but lean meat, poultry, and fish. And, we have sushi or poke or something like that almost every morning for breakfast. And how on earth did sushi become a breakfast food? I don't know. But the first successful surgical procedure to remove the gallbladder was performed in 1882 by German surgeon Karl Lagenbuch. Lagenbuch. I know you're writing all that down. In Berlin, Germany, of course. And according to the World Book of World Records, a woman of 85 holds the record for the most gallstones removed at one time, 23,530. And they were removed in 1987. So be kind to your gallbladder. I can't because I ain't got one. Let me make sure. Now you understand you're on your own from now on, right? Hey. Okay. But if you have to ditch a no good gallbladder, you can live without it. One would welcome a change in diet and health style over the havoc that a mean gallbladder can bring. National Bluebird of Happiness Day is also today, and I think we're getting some bluebirds coming in. But today we celebrate the bluebird. The symbol of a bluebird is the sign of happiness and is found in many cultures. The Native American Navajo identify the mountain bluebird as a spirit and animal form associated with the rising sun. In the Russian fairy tales, the bluebird is symbol of hope. And we've got some bluebirds out here. At first, I didn't think so. I was getting bluebirds and blue jays mixed up. I'm the blue jay. A bluebird looks like this. And yeah, we're getting them now in the backyard. And what do we have here? Oh, a little one. Little one, but it sure is squawking, isn't it? And of course, here is a more better picture. And, it's just got blue on its back. And sometimes they move pretty quick, so it's hard to tell. But there it is. And shut up, Bluebird. No, I would never say that. Oh, look at this. What's this?
This was in our local paper.
Oh, this was in the local paper about bluebirds. There you go. And that's...
in the second half, it shows bluebird.
Oh, over here it shows pictures of bluebirds, which you can't see all that well, but my other pictures, I'm sure, were more gooder. So Chinese mythology viewed the bluebird as a messenger and often appeared with 3 legs as a symbol of the sun. Bluebirds in song, the lyrics, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds. No, don't sing.
I don't have that. No.
No, Bluebird's fine. Made famous by Judy Garland in The Wizard of Oz. Just talking to a good friend of mine in Florida earlier today about how Wizard of Oz was his favorite movie. And of course, we're talking here Bluebirds in that movie, and also the early Technicolor, but that's for another show. James Baskett sang in Disney's Song of the South, the award-winning song Zippity-Doo-Dah, Mr. Bluebird on My Shoulder, pictures the symbol of cheer. Now, I have the feeling this is not available now because of racial issues, which, of course, as a youngin', when I loved this movie, I never realized, and I still have trouble realizing it because of my first experiences with this film. And I think it's one of the first films ever made with animation and real-life people. And Doris Day sang about a bluebird on your windowsill, bringing happy thoughts like sunshine after rain. And there are only 3 species of bluebirds in the United States. I don't hear any of them right now, but there must be. The southern bluebird, the mountain bluebird, and the western bluebird. There are lots of birds that are blue, but they're not all bluebirds. Even bluebird eggs are blue. Bluebirds love to eat mealworms, just like me. Beetles, berries, grapes. Grapes are part of the fresh fruit that, without a gallbladder, as well as sunflower seeds. They can spot caterpillars and insects in tall grass 50 yards away. And eastern bluebird flocks or herds are 100 or more at one time. As official bird of 2 states, Missouri and New York. The oldest recorded eastern bluebird was over 10 years old. And we mentioned one of our heroes without, well, no, he does not have wings. Someday we all will. But after watching Let Grandpa Speak a couple of weeks ago, and we remember him talking about bluebirds, and we looked up. How did we look up the program? We went to my website, but you can go to KMET's website and go to the TV thing and look it up. Now, that is on the front page of my website, but it's also at the bottom of every single page of my website. So, Let Grandpa Speak on Saturday mornings, and this was in late August, and he was giving what's free for older people or any people, and it was from the North American Bluebird Society. You can get plans for building your own birdhouse that will attract them into your backyard. Thanks, Grandpa, for giving us that information. I do know his real name, but I don't think he's ever, I don't remember him saying it on air, so I won't neither either. But don't miss his show. It's so good. Native American Day is September 24th in the state of California. Native American Day is celebrated on the 4th Friday of September, which I think we're close to. This is the 54th annual California Native American Day, and California has one of the highest Native American populations in the country. I guess I didn't realize that. This holiday is not celebrated in all 50 states, but is gaining popularity. This is a time to honor the cultures and contributions of the Native Americans. So visit a reservation. Some do welcome visitors. I've been to several. here. A lot of people go here because of the, of the casinos, but, I've been to those in New Mexico and whatever, very friendly, open people. And some of them have museums to educate the public about the history and culture, and some engaging exhibits for all ages. There are nearly 100 separate reservations right here in California. Or you can read the works of Native American authors, support their own businesses, and you can making the traditional fry bread at a Native American restaurant. Now, I don't want to get too far into this, but fry bread is not really a Native American thing, except that when they were forced into reservations and they couldn't get what they normally use to make bread, we gave them what they could use to make fry bread. But, I'm not happy about what happened, but I do love fry bread in spite of it being greasy. And, there are celebrations, traditional dining, singing, honoring their ancestors. And close by, the Morongo Band of Mission Indians will host their annual Thunder and Lightning powwow this weekend. And I do see some weather reports saying thunderstorms this evening. I kind of hope so, because I know we're not used to it, but, I miss it from when I was a little boy. So that celebration in Cabazon is September 24th through the 26th at the Morongo Casino Resort. And the last three classical composers we honored this month were influenced by one point or so by Native American music and musical instruments. Now, we've got just a few minutes, but I'm going to just race into famous people's birthdays. I'm sure we won't finish Jacques Valet, but we'll stop. We'll have our very famous guest, and then we'll get back to Jacques. Jacques Valet was born on this day in 1939, and he is a composer. I'm thinking composer, computer scientist, which is where I think he made his millions, author, ufologist, and astronomer. And there's a picture of Jacques. I think that's quite a bit younger than what he is right now. Here he is with Alan J. Hynek. Both of them were either in or represented in Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And didn't we have a bigger picture of him? Maybe not, but there's, let's see how this looks. It looked okay on the monitor here. I'm also in the middle of reading a really, what I think is a good book, which I would recommend, called American Cosmic, and I can't remember the lady's name. But it's written by a Catholic theologian who really gets into this, the UFO thing, and how it's become how it can be studied. But he began his professional life as an astronomer at the Paris Observatory. In 1961, he was awarded the Jules Verne Prize for his first science fiction novel, Le Subspace, S-U-B-E-S-P space. And before we go on break, I want to show you a book. Whoa, that was thunder. Wow. The music is just rolling. I guess I should get up and start dancing. We got some Skype issues with Tom Hegna. I was able to see him, and boy, he's looking good. He's looking a lot better than me, but so be it. But he's going to be calling in, I'm sure.
I'm here.
Okay, there you are. Well, I'm sorry about whatever it was. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's all these thunderstorms we're having out here. We're not used to thunderstorms. But let me tell people about, because I know that you, I don't think you're real shy, but you know what? I don't want to put you on the spot. So I'm going to tell people that we are very, very privileged to have Tom with us. And he's an economist, author, retirement expert. I'm trying to be, but I am not of the same caliber. He has been incredibly popular as an industry speaker for many years and considered many to be the retirement income expert, which is what I'm trying to be, but I never will be what he is. He's a former vice president at New York Life. I keep thinking of him as president, but that's okay. Retired lieutenant colonel, economist, and has delivered over 5,000 seminars, 5,001 now, including this, and has some really good books. The one that I see at friends' houses, even though I never knew that they had them, Paychecks and Playchecks. And so he's helping baby boomers, seniors retire in the optimal way, and has condensed a large chunk of his considerable knowledge into these 5 books. And we're going to ask him how to make sure that you can all get these books. So the Paychecks and Playchecks have sold over 120,000 copies, and I'm not sure how old that is, probably a lot more now. Top-rated Kindle version, has been the #1 bestseller in its category for over 2 years. Retirement Income Masters, Secrets of the Pros. I could get into what these books are, but we can wait. Paychecks and Playchecks, Retirement Solution for Americans. There's one for Canadians. So if you're listening worldwide in Canada, you've got a book also. Don't worry, retire happy. 7 Steps to Retirement Security, which is what I think I see more than ever on public television, and 7 Steps to Retirement Security. So, he specializes in creating simple and powerful retirement solutions, including the cash cows, which I can't stop laughing about, but we can ask him about that. And, he gets things pumped up, gives great talks, and been featured in Forbes, Money Rates, and so many other leading publications. I'm going to shut up now because, I talk too much anyway, and let Tom go ahead and introduce himself, please.
Well, thanks, Jay. You were very generous in your introduction, so I'm ready to answer any questions you might have.
Okay. Well, the questions are, first of all, your books. Let's talk about your books, and if you could kind of go through each one with a condensed version of what that is, and then we'll finish that section up with how people can get a hold of those books, because they're great books. And I am looking at a picture of you on the screen, so you're there too, but it's a still picture, but that's okay. But go ahead and let's talk about your books. So take off,
sure.
Please.
So Paychecks and Playchecks was really the math and science behind a successful retirement. What happened is when the markets were crashing in 2008, 2009, people were freaking out. They didn't know how to retire. And so I put together a book of how to retire the optimal way based on math and science, not based on people's opinions. And this is really the research of PhDs all around the world who've studied retirement. And Paychecks and Playchecks concludes with 4 very simple steps that anybody can put into place. Step number 1, you want to cover your basic living expenses in retirement with guaranteed lifetime income. So you want to figure out how much money do you need to pay for your housing, your clothing, your food, your cell phone, your internet, all your normal expenses. That should be covered with guaranteed lifetime income. Now, what counts as guaranteed lifetime income? Well, Social Security does. Why? Because it's a lifetime income annuity. It's a guaranteed paycheck for life. A pension counts. Why? Because it's a lifetime income annuity. It's a guaranteed paycheck for life. So you take all your basic expenses, your Social Security counts towards that. If you get a pension, that counts. But if you're short, that's where an income annuity fits. And you can go to any insurance company in America. They sell annuities, and that's where the annuity fits to cover your basic living expenses. And we learned why in COVID. People would say, I don't need an annuity. I got rental property. Yeah, how's that going to work when renters don't have to pay rent and landlords can't evict them? They'd say, I use dividend-paying stocks. Well, I love dividend-paying stocks. But during COVID, 600 companies eliminated or slashed their dividends. So they're good to have, but they're not guaranteed lifetime income. Laddered bonds don't work because of low interest rate. Municipal bonds have been on the cover of Barron's magazine for 3 times in the last 2 years. because municipalities' expenses have gone up, their revenue's gone down, and some of these bonds are going to be in trouble. So step one, cover your basic living expenses in retirement with guaranteed lifetime income. Step number two, you want to optimize the rest of your portfolio to protect yourself against inflation. So that's where stocks fit. That's where real estate fits. That's where the dividend-paying stocks fit. Step number three, you got to have a plan for long-term care. No retirement plan is complete without a plan for long-term care. It's the one thing most people forget about that can wipe out their entire life's work. And then step number four, the most efficient way to pass wealth to children, grandchildren, and charities is with life insurance. I always tell people, don't leave any money to your kids. You're supposed to spend all of your money. Leave life insurance to them because you can do that for pennies on the dollar. And it's all about how do you get the most for the least in retirement. And that's what Paychecks and Playchecks is about.
Wow. No wonder it's so popular. And it is, right? And it should be.
Yeah.
And, you don't have to have a huge amount of money to be able to follow these things.
No,
but even
it
those
works
people
with
with
anybody,
a huge amount of money, we seem to have a short memory sometimes about what happened in 08 and 09.
Yeah.
And when COVID started, I know in my business, the secondary market in Wall Street was starting to, I hate to use the word collapse, but they weren't buying loans in for a while and slashing what people could get. And that luckily didn't turn out to last very long. But we seem to have a short memory when it comes to these things, and we don't get ourselves set up for those steps that you just went over.
Yeah, and people don't realize that the Japanese stock market has been down for over 30 years. The European stock market has been down for over 20 years. We just went through the lost decade from 2000 to 2010 where our stock market did nothing for 10 years. And I guess people have forgotten that. But, I like the stock market, but you can't use a stock portfolio to cover your basic living expenses in retirement. You're going to be very miserable if you try to do that.
Right, and of course, my cigars and phonograph records, that's included in basic needs, right? Now, don't answer that. Okay?
As is my golf.
Now you're talking like a man. So, one thing that stands out in my mind is don't worry, retire happy, because I see that, a lot on television. Or I used to. I'm not sure how often you're on anymore these days, but I know you're a famous name on public television for retirement education. I believe Don Graves was the first one that mentioned your name to me. And, that's a book also, correct?
Yeah, and that was a PBS TV special that played in 80 million homes in the U.S. and Canada. So Don't Worry, Retire Happy is a little broader than Paychecks and Playchecks. Don't Worry, Retire Happy covers the importance of having a plan and working with a financial professional, that retirement is not a do-it-yourself project. People don't do their own dental work in their garage with their drill set, and I don't think they ought to be doing their own retirement planning either. I use financial advisors, and I know this stuff inside and out.
Right.
Step number two, you want to maximize your Social Security benefits. See, most people are not maximizing their benefits. They don't understand the proper strategies, and I talk about that in the book. Step number three talks about the importance of a hybrid retirement, maybe working a couple of extra years, even part-time. It can really help your retirement.
Right.
Step number four, you've got to have that plan to protect yourself against inflation. So you need something that will give you inflation protection. You can do that with stocks or real estate or commodities. You can also do it, the way I've done it is I've laddered my annuities. So I have annuities that start when I'm 60, some that start when I'm 62, some that start when I'm 65, some that start when I'm 70. So I am guaranteed to have increasing income for the rest of my life. And since I converted much of that to Roth, I'm going to have tax-free income for the rest of my life.
That's great, converting to Roth. I need to learn more about that so I can pass that information on.
Yeah.
But I remember, because I'm so old, I remember some things, not everything, but annuities had a bad name, just like reverse mortgages did for a while, and to some extent still do. But annuities do not have that stigma anymore, do they?
No, well, not according to all the PhDs and economists. I mean, PhDs and economists who've studied retirement are unanimous. You've got to put an annuity in the portfolio. And the reason is the way that income annuity functions inside of a portfolio, it functions like a AAA rated bond because it's guaranteed every month for the rest of your life. With a triple C rated yield, the payout rate is much higher than you can get in a money market or a CD or a bond because of the mortality credits. And with zero standard deviation, it doesn't fluctuate. And so I can take any annuity hater, any annuity non-believer, and prove to them mathematically and scientifically their portfolio will do better if they simply remove some of the bonds in their portfolio and replace it with an income annuity. And that is based in math and science. That's not my opinion. It's been proven mathematically and scientifically. Dr. Menachem Yari, back in the 1960s, proved that only a lifetime income annuity can optimize income over the indefinite period of human life. See, Jay, you don't know when you're going to die. I don't know when I'm going to die. But the insurance company knows almost to the exact day when 1,000 people are going to die. And because of that, they can pay each and every one of us as though they knew exactly when we're going to die. It's the only product in the world you can buy that will guarantee you will never, ever, ever, ever run out of income.
Yeah, and, you know, as one of my frequent guests on the show, Dr. Wade Pfau, I don't know if you're familiar with him or not.
Of course.
American
he's in all my books.
Yeah, yeah. He one of the things he always says is never plan on when you die, because it ain't going to happen that way.
Right.
And he is so right. And Social Security is important, too. Now, a lot of people a lot of people are broke when they're 62 and they have to take it. Okay, I understand some of that. And but overall, not everybody is there. When you have a choice, you need to have help in making that choice. Your books are very good, reading material for that. Reference material, I guess, is a better word. And like you say, have a financial plan or two. I don't care how much money you have or don't have. There's always ways to get help, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and you said if they're broke, they take it at 62. If they're broke, they shouldn't take it at 60. They should work. They should be working for 8 more years till 70 and then take it. And I know some people say, well, they're disabled or they can't. But nowadays, you can do work from home. You can do work on the computer. There's all kinds of things that you can do to continue to earn income. And so anyway, I just think if people really understood how Social Security works,
I like that. I like that a lot. I never thought of it that way, but I like that. And I'm still working. I'm still working full time. I'm 75, but I feel that if I weren't busy, I'd be aging faster. So just because I look like 102 doesn't mean I feel like it,
Yeah. So step number 5 in Don't Worry, Retire, You're Happy is the importance of guaranteed lifetime income again. And I also show that people are happier who have guaranteed lifetime income. People with assets are miserable in retirement. People with income are happier. The Wall Street Journal, the headline read, "The secret to a happier retirement is friends, neighbors, and a fixed annuity." That was in the Wall Street Journal. Time Magazine, lifetime income stream, key to retirement happiness. And now you know what the research shows, Jay. People with annuities tend to live longer as well, because they have less stress. They don't worry. And because they're being paid to live, they live differently. They watch what they eat. They exercise. They go see the doctor when they're not feeling well. And all these things cause them to tend to live longer. So, any of these annuity haters out there, they do not understand retirement. They haven't read the research of the top PhDs in the world, because if you read that, you will become very positive on annuities. I own 11 of them. Dr. David Babel, who's in my books, he had 14 of them. Unfortunately, he died last year, but he had 14 annuities. I have 11 of them. We're not dumb people. If these were bad products, we wouldn't own any of them. So you got to do your research. I've done that for you. I put it in the books. And people can just read the books, and all the PhD research is in there, in the footnotes, so they can go check up on all of it.
I'm looking at the monitor now, and it's Sean, our engineer, has got like 4 really good pictures and things of you and keep your gas tank full. I know there's paychecks and playchecks. Don't worry, retire happy. The books are showing. But now that we're looking at them, let's take a short detour. Tell everybody as if they'd never heard of it, not be the only way to get them. Tell everybody how to get these books, please.
Well, all my books are available on Amazon. They're available on my website, tomhegna.com. And if your listeners use the code 15OFF, 15OFF, they can get 15% off at tomhegna.com. I also have a YouTube channel that's completely free, and there's hundreds of videos on there that can be helpful to people.
I love YouTube. I've got hundreds of videos, too. Of course, nobody watches mine, but that's okay. I enjoy doing it. So, we enjoy doing things to stay, like I have this 2-hour show. I really look forward to it. And, I think it's one of the things that's keeping me somewhat, up and happy. And I went through a lot of, health problems last year. None of it COVID, because, no matter what, again, having to do with don't plan on when you die, because it won't happen that way. We're also worried about COVID, and then these other things hit me right out of left field. So you got to be ready for things. And one thing you did mention that really rings a bell is health care, or even in-home care.
Yeah.
I'm working with a lady right now she pays $6,000 a month in-home care. That's not health cost. That's not healthcare costs. That's just in-home care. Probably a lot of it. And I worked with her 10 years ago, and she said, "Oh, I'll never live to 80." Well, she's well into her 80s now, and needs more money. So that's something that when I was an urchin. We got these things. I think back then you were supposed to take 6% out of your retirement, and you were something like that. You planned for your daughter's wedding, even though I don't have a daughter. You planned for education for your kids, but you never planned for health care. That wasn't a part of financial planning, or it didn't seem like it, and it is so important and so expensive.
Yeah. When people say long-term care insurance is expensive, I say, you think long-term care insurance is expensive? Try not having it. Try not having it. That'll wipe you out. Both my parents were in assisted living, $10,000 a month. And there were years my dad didn't make $10,000 a year, $10,000 a month. But see, 18 years ago, I made them buy long-term care insurance. They didn't want to. Yeah. It's too expensive. We'll never need it. It's an insurance company ripoff. My dad said all those words to me. I made them buy it. And they were both in assisted living. I can't imagine what their retirement would have been if they didn't have those policies. Those policies saved their financial situation.
People are always saying, well, insurance is too expensive. You know what? It's not. And when does it become expensive? Well, maybe if you never use it. But you know what? That's great if you never have. And I don't mean dying early. I mean if you never use it. And, people are always telling me about how expensive the mortgage insurance is on my product. And I say, well, have you paid your auto insurance company since you started, minus what they paid you back, and what does that equal? And, insurance is, it's a great industry, and it really helps everybody.
And Jay, if somebody's worried about paying for long-term care insurance and not using it, there are now policies. They're typically life insurance policies that come with a long-term care benefit. And so they really do three things. Number one, they're an emergency fund. So let's say, for example, a person puts $100,000 in there. These policies come with a money. They come with a money-back guarantee, so you can get that $100,000 out if you need it. But if you don't need it and you die, there's a death benefit, roughly double, $200,000. But if you don't die and you need long-term care, there's a long-term care benefit, roughly $300,000, and depending on your age and all that. But that policy does three things in one. It's an emergency fund. If you don't ever use it, it goes to your kids tax-free with an extra death benefit. If you need it, it's there. It comes to you tax-free. And so there are new products on the market that can help people so that their money isn't gone if they don't use it.
And, either way, it helps your legacy because, number one, if you need it, my God, look how much money it has saved you and your children from having to spend. Yep. And if you don't use it, they get the insurance death benefit. So, it's a win-win all the way around.
Yep.
And I can't believe we're just about at the top of the hour again. I turn around and all of a sudden I'm 75 years old. Time goes fast, doesn't it?
Yep.
And it goes faster than we want to realize, in spite of the fact of trying to get as much as we can out of every day. But one more quick time before we go, because and before the hook comes out and pulls me off stage here when we hit the top of the hour, I really want to thank you so much. I know we don't have your video, but we've got so much from you, and yeah, I'll be doing a video and sending it to you, and I'll put more more visuals on that. But I really feel privileged to have you been a part of us for the last just about a half hour. I do apologize for any Skype problems. So one more time, give how they can find you, your website, that kind of thing, because it's so important to get a hold of you, and people should do it. Just get yourself prepared. Best way to get yourself prepared is to read Tom's books and his YouTube channel. So go ahead and lay that out one more time, please.
Yeah, if you go to Amazon.com, you could just put my name, Tom Hegna, Hegna. But you can also go to TomHegna.com and use the code 150FF to get 15% off. And then, of course, you go to YouTube, just put in my name, Tom Hegna, and there's many, many, many videos.
And videos are good. I mean, when I was a kid, I liked reading, but I liked the ones with the pictures in them the best. So
sure.
I'm still kind of the same. And I really want to thank you so much. And although the audience on video can't see you now, I did see you, and you look really, really good. So keep yourself safe, and you and your family, and I really appreciate it one more time, and thank you so much. And for the rest of the audience, we'll be back very soon, and take care of yourself.
Thank you.